Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Katrina Sargent, owner and creator of Devil Doll Custom Creations. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing more an advanced glitter pen tutorial, 3 different ones. They're going to go in order: Leopard, swirl, pencil, and then candy cane. This is a little too advanced for you. Go back and watch my basic pen tutorial. All my pens start the same way. This has been sanded and spray painted. I did a spiral spray paint on this one, gold and pink. Here I'm adding the littlest amount of epoxy possible. If you have too thick of epoxy, when you glitter, you can kind of see wet spots, or your glitter can shift. Here I'm just gonna go and do all my gold first, and then I'll do my pink chunky, and then fill in any spaces I have from the pink chunky with like a neon pink. It just kind of brightens it up a little bit. Since I have chunky glitter on this, I'm going to roll it or pat it with wax paper. It will help everything lay flat. Do epoxy or Brite tone until smooth. Lightly sand, and then you're going to place your leopard spots. I like more of a random pattern, so what I usually do is I have a group on my transfer sheet and I kind of just press it onto the pen and see what stays and what comes back. This will give you more of random spot placement. Some people like more pattern to their spots, then this probably would not work for you. Once I have the majority covered, I will then place spots with tweezers in any blank spots I have, and then I will weed out any of the middle pieces that I didn't when I reversed weeded the spots in the first place. Once I'm happy with the spots, I add a little bit of CCDIY quick coat before I epoxy or add Brite tone to this. You're then going to epoxy or use Brite tone until smooth. Look how beautiful it looks when it's finished. You could add a name to this, you can add a saying if you like, or just leave it as is. Okay, moving into the next pen is the pencil with wood grain. I have taped off the top part, which is going to be the eraser and the silver section. I glitter the entire thing. Roll it in your wax paper. If you are using Brite tone, you're going to want to spray your glitter once it dries with E6000 spray. Smoosh that glitter down again. This just helps to lay it flat. If you are an epoxy user, you don't have to do this step. You can. It's going to help your glitter lay flatter, even for epoxy. You're going to want to make sure that your glitter does not move before you remove the tape. I have this really thin painter's tape that I use for my silver section. If you don't have thin painter's tape, you can just tape off that section and overlap it into the yellow. Since you have sealed it, it's not going to go anywhere. Just like this. So now I'm moving on to the eraser. I'm going to add a little bit of acrylic paint into my glue so I can kind of base color it as I do my glue for my glitter. And then I will glitter on top of this tinted glue. After you glitter and that glitter glue has dried, you're going to do the exact same thing as you did the yellow. Smoosh it down, add E6000 until nothing moves, and then you're going to remove the tape to go on to the silver section. I actually like using these paint pens. This is a silver paint pen. You can use acrylic paint and a paintbrush. You can do a lot of different things. You can do silver glitter if you want that look. And I just fill in that area with this paint pen before I Brite tone or epoxy. Then once that is dry, you're going to epoxy or Brite tone until smooth. and then gently sand before moving on to this next step. I have actually wood grained a piece of white vinyl and sealed it very well. This is how I add wood grain accents to keychains, to a lot of different things. Once I cut out a little section, that's just going to go on the bottom edge. I do the straight edge on the bottom. And then I take my craft knife to create those valleys and peaks. Now with that done, I'm going to add my metallic strips to my silver. You can go back and watch my book pages tutorial. This tells you how I cut out my vinyl strips. This is the reason why I don't weed out my vinyl strips. I leave the little areas between the ones I use for my tumblers. So for projects like this, it's perfect size and I don't have to cut it out again. And then I run it along the pink and silver section, the yellow and silver section, and then one in the middle. So there will be 3 of these vinyl strips in that silver area. This is why I don't glitter my section. Kind of gives it a more metallic look. You'll see it at the end. So you could be done with it as is, or you can add those black lines to break up the pencil. I purchased these on Amazon. They're strips for nail art. They're extremely thin and kind of hard to work with. It takes a little bit getting used to. I will link everything in the description. So here I am just laying it on my pen and then pulling it down to the eraser and then cutting the extra off the top, and then I go and do the bottom once I'm happy with where they are. Now you're going to epoxy or Brite tone until 100% smooth. You can leave it as is. You can add a teacher's name. You can add a saying. Here you go. All right, last but not least, this is my favorite. So first you're going to glitter a pen red and epoxy or Brite tone until smooth and gently sand before this next step. Here, I'm going to show you how I cut out my candy cane strips. So I make a rectangle in Silhouette Studio, and then I go up and change the size. I do the length 6 inches and the width 0.025. They're extremely thin. However, I will show you how I get 2 different sizes out of one cut. Here I'm just coloring it black to make it visually a little easier to see. And then I'm going to duplicate this over and over again. I hold the Alt key and you'll see a little plus come up, and then you can duplicate it. Grab them again, do the Alt key, it will duplicate whatever you grab. And then once you've duplicated enough, I prefer a lot of extra just in case I mess up. All right, once you have as many as you would like, I then grab all of them and then I go up to the very top little area. Then I bring them all to come from level from the top down, and then I do the width. They're going to then space the exact same. So when you cut, you're going to have the exact same width between them. That's how you get your thicker stripes when you cut this. I group it just for it's easier and then send it. I'm using a sparkly white adhesive vinyl. You can do glitter if you would like. You're gonna have to seal that really well though so it doesn't bleed. And then you're gonna have 2 different sizes of candy cane stripe to then wrap along your pen. You can go back and forth deciding which pattern you like, how much red you want visible, whatever preference you prefer. And then I cut off the bottom a little higher and then the top not all the way, because you want this to be completely sealed in epoxy or Brite tone so you don't have any vinyl lifting at all. And then once I'm happy with how the candy cane looks, I am then going to use CCDIY Quick Coat on this entire pin, including the edges. Make sure you get those edges down really well so nothing pops up or tries to peel back when you're epoxying or Brite toning. Then you're going to do epoxy or Brite tone until 100% smooth and you have a finished pin. You can add a saying to this. You can leave it as is. I just love how beautifully and sparkly it is. I hope everyone enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please comment them. Please like, share, subscribe, or you can join my Facebook group, facebook.com, Devil Doll Community. You can ask me questions there. You can show off your work or just find crafters.